What's going on, everybody? It's Carmine from Pihole Tech, and today we're going to work on turning this Raspberry Pi into the ultimate Pihole Tailscale VPN device. So the goal is we're going to use this Raspberry Pi to run Pihole as well as act as a Tailscale node, so we can connect to it over a VPN, get access to Pihole to block ads and everything else while we're outside of our house, and also have full access to whatever internal network devices we might want through the device that don't run Tailscale. So we're going to get right into this and start working on it. But before we get into today's featured content, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Brilliant.org. I've been using Brilliant for about 2 months now, and one of the features that I like the most is its streaks. So it has a feature that will remind you to keep your streak alive by going on and studying with Brilliant every day. This has been one of the things that have kept me on path to continue my learning and practice my skills every day by keeping my streak alive on the Brilliant site. Brilliant streaks have kept me going back every day to continue my learning process, and by having the mobile app is a great add-on so I can learn from anywhere with Brilliant. The courses are crafted by world-class teachers from MIT, Harvard, and Stanford. They're designed for ages 10 to 110, and you'll learn by solving problems, not watching videos. I look forward to working with the Thinking in Python class, as you can see it right here, and many of the other courses available on Brilliant. I want to thank Brilliant for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to learn for free for 30 days on Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/barmindtech, and you'll also receive a 20% off an annual premium subscription. I will also have that link down below, or you can scan the QR code on screen now. Again, I want to thank Brilliant.org for sponsoring today's video. Similarly to some of the other projects we've done this year, I actually have a bit of a write-up on my GitHub, so we're going to read through there as we work on this project. Some prerequisites for this project is you're going to need a Raspberry Pi, or you could do this on a virtual machine. I just did it on a Raspberry Pi because it's something I had and I don't really use it too much, so I want something to do with it. If you are going to run with a Raspberry Pi, you're going to need an SD card and the power supply and a network cable. You could do this probably with a Pi 2 Zero or probably regular Pi Zero, but it would probably be a lot better if you run it with one of like the 3, 4, or 5s, just so they have the physical NIC to connect to the network. You also will need a Tailscale account with single sign-on, so you're going to need to have something like Gmail or one of their other providers that you could just do the SSO through. It won't work from their documentation if you do it with something like a regular Tailscale account. So just keep that in mind when you go to set that portion up. Enough talk, let's start the project. Okay, so here is the write-up. Like I mentioned, we had a couple goals with this project. One is going to be we're going to be able to get Pihole for network-wide blocking anywhere we are by using Tailscale. If you're not familiar, Tailscale is another web VPN that we could use. It uses the WireGuard protocols and makes it that you don't have to have any sort of port forwarding setup. It's really convenient. I've been using it for quite some time. It's a very popular solution and it works really easily, so that's why it's very popular. We're going to leverage the Tailscale connection back to the Pihole device by making that secure connection back to the device over the internet to not only be able to use Pihole, like I mentioned, but also give us access to the internal network if we want. So you can give it to like a range of servers if you want, or if you want to be able to access your whole internal network, you could do that as well. It's going to make it as like a exit node, as they call it, so you'll be able to enter the network from the device and exit it to be able to reach the rest of the network. Like I mentioned, we're going to need a Raspberry Pi, so I have a Pi 5 here. Like I said, you could use a 3, a 4, a 5. They're all going to work really easily. You could probably get away with a Pi 0, but just having no physical NIC is what I don't really like about that. So probably better to use like a 3, a 4, or 5. 4s and 5s are going to have more power and they're probably going to be easier to get these days. We're going to use Ubuntu server for this. So the first thing we're going to have to do is get Raspberry Pi Imager if you already don't have it. If you don't, it's really easy to get. You can just search up Raspberry Pi Imager. You would just download it for whatever your operating system is. And when it's all done, you could open it up. When you open it, it'll look something like this. You can either select to work with the device you want, or you can select no filtering and it'll give you everything. I'm working with a Pi 5, so I'm just going to make it a little bit easier. I'm going to click next. And first, I have an SD card that already has data on it, so I'm going to need to erase it. So I'm going to come scroll down to erase. I'm going to click next again. And my SD card isn't currently in there, so let me just get that in there and we'll be right back. So I just put my SD card in there, and make sure that you select the right device here. So I have a 32 gig SD card, so you can see it's 28 gigs, sounds about right. You could also double check, but just make sure that you don't select like a external hard drive or something else with really important data on there. You're going to click next again. Give you a summary, and then it's going to give you a warning, and it wants you to verify. I did, and we're going to click I understand, erase, and write. I'm going to give this a couple minutes. It's going to run through and erase the system, and you can see that actually it's already done. So I'm going to write another one. Actually, I'm going to come back up to options and make this a little bit easier. We're going to come down to, we should be on the OS tab now. We're going to do other general purpose. I'm going to select Ubuntu, and we're going to do Ubuntu server. You can do 25 if you want. I'm going to do 24, just personal preference for me. So I'm just going to do 24. I'm going to click next. I'm going to select that SD card once again. We're going to click next. And now over here, we can actually come back up to customization. So this is where you would set the host name of the device, and if you want to be able to have SSH access and so on. So I do. I'm going to call this tailnet. I'm going to click next. You can set your location. You can set a user and a password. So we'll actually be able to connect into the device when you get into it. Click next again. If you're going to connect to Wi-Fi, you can configure that here. I'm not going to, so I'm just going to click next. I do want to enable SSH, and we're going to use password authentication, and it'll use that account that we just made a couple steps back. I'll click next again, confirm everything looks good, and I'll click right. Again, it'll tell me to double check, and I'll click I understand right again. This will take a couple minutes, and when this is done, we'll be back. And after about 5 minutes or so, everything will be written, and it'll be all set. We can click finish. And now we'll be good to remove that SD card, put it in the Raspberry Pi, power it up, and connect it to the network. And then after a few minutes, we should see it come online. I'm going to do that, and we'll be right back. At this point, your Raspberry Pi or whatever you're using should be online. If you don't have like a monitor connected to it or like a KVM or something, you can check either your router's DHCP lease or if it has like a network listing of the devices connected, or you can do something like Angry IP Scanner. I already know my IP address, so I'm just going to SSH into it. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to continue on with this. Okay, so similarly to how we have in the past, I have the write-up on the right, and on the left is going to be my PuTTY session. So the first thing we're going to do is a sudo apt update, put our password in, we'll let that run, and I have all the steps over here on the right. So the next thing we're going to do is sudo apt upgrade. We're going to do tac y, so it just pushes it through. It's going to say in the guide to reboot. It's dependent on your current version of what you're running and software and stuff. Typically, you'll be alright. You don't have to at this point, so I'm not going to once this is done, and we're just going to go straight into installing Pi-hole. And depending on what version of Ubuntu you used and how far back it was on updates, it might take a couple minutes to get those done. You can see we're all set. So I'm going to clear that out, and now we can actually start with the Pi-hole install. So one thing I am going to do is going to go sudo su, just to go into root and make it a little bit easier. This will work just as fine. And now we can make it a little bit easier to install some of these packages. So we're going to install Pi-hole. So we're just going to copy this, paste it over there. I'm just going to kind of install Pi-hole really quickly. I'm not going to do like a real detailed explanation or setup just because I've already covered it a couple of times. If you are interested in a more detailed explanation of setting up Pi-hole, I will link some videos down below, and I'll try to remember to put a card up in the corner. It might take a minute for the GUI to pop up. If you just give it a second, it'll come up, and we can just kind of run through this. So it's going to give you a warning about a static IP, and this is going to be kind of dependent. So if you're going to use this Pi-hole instance for like internal use on your network, like your regular local LAN, you'll probably want to set a static IP. If you're just going to be using this for your Tailscale, if it adjusts, it's not really the end of the world because Tailscale will be able to see that. But if you are going to use this for your local network, make sure you give this a static IP. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to use Cloudflare. You could use whichever DNS provider you want. This prompt is just asking if you want to use some of the default block lists on Pi-hole. I'm going to click yes. I do want query login so I can look back at the logs and see, about blocks and network traffic if I want. So I'm going to click yes. I want it to show everything. This will install, and then it will pretty much be done in a minute or so, and then Pi-hole will actually be up and working. And over here you can see that it's saying Pi-hole is done. So if I open up a new tab, I do https:// you put in your IP, and then you do /admin. It'll bring you over to the Pi-hole page. It's going to give you a warning because it doesn't have a certificate. That's okay. You can just hit advance and continue. And now over here is your password. If you type that in, you'll be able to log in, and you can see that everything's good to go. So we can hit enter one more time and go OK. We do a clear, and if I do Pi-hole set password, we can set a new password. So I'm going to do that just to make it a little bit easier. Our password's all set. You can see it indicates it over here. It'll log us out of the Pi-hole session, and if I type in my new password, we're all good once again. So we now have Pi-hole working. So now the next step is going to be to start to set up Tailscale. So that's what we're going to come down to, and we're going to grab this next command, and we're going to copy it, and we're just going to paste that in. It's going to run through the Tailscale setup. Okay, and now over here you can see that it is done. So it does say to run this command, Tailscale up, And this is to bring Tailscale actually up to run. And now you can see it's going to give us this link to authenticate, and that's what we want to see. So you would copy this link, you would paste this into your browser, and then it's going to have you authenticate with Tailscale. So I'm going to do that really quickly, and then I'll open this back up. And now I know it's down here at the bottom and it's a little small, but you can see that it says it's a success, and we're pretty much all set to go. Now there are a couple more things we need to do, so I'm just going to clear that out. And we actually need to enable IP forwarding. So this is if you want to actually be able to go through this tailnet box and be able to reach more of your nodes on the inside. So you could just copy this and paste it in there, click enter, and it handles all that. And now the next step is going to be to advertise the local subnet. So once again, we're going to do Tailscale, tac, advertise routes equals, and whatever the network you want it to be. So mine is a 192.168.50.0/24, and now it would hit enter. So now in the portal for Tailscale, we would actually be able to see this node come up, and that we would be able to forward routes through it. So I'll bring that up in 1 second. So now over here in my Tailscale, you can see I have all my machines, and then up here is Tailnet 1. That's because I already had the one for my demo, but it would just be Tailnet or whatever you named your host. There's a little blue box that says subnets, and it's saying that it doesn't have approved routes. Review it, and that's fine. So we'd come over here to the 3 dots, click edit route settings, and we would actually check off this box to approve it to be able to go to that subnet. And now you can see that little warning is gone, and it's all set. If you come over to edit route settings and you don't have this, then you need to go back into the CLI and you need to make sure that you ran this command properly, and then it will push through so you could actually check off and confirm it in here. Now the next option is going to be to make this a exit node. So this is what would actually create the full tunnel for all of your web traffic to go through to this Tailscale box and then out through your home internet or your local network, wherever the Tailscale box is. This is just a quick picture that I found online to explain the difference between a full tunnel and a split tunnel. So over here we have a split tunnel. So you're going to have your VPN that will connect back to wherever you have it set. For me, it's going to be at my house. So any traffic that's destined to that 192.168.50.0 network that we just set, or whatever you set, will go through the VPN back to the Tailscale host and stay there. Everything else will go out across the network, right out normally. So like for our setup, your DNS traffic will pump through the split tunnel and go back home or wherever you have it to get Pihole and any of the local assets that you have. So if you want to be able to like connect to a server or something, you could do it through there. If you do like normal web traffic or you're going on apps and stuff, it's going to go out the internet normally. If you want to set up as an exit node to have a full tunnel, everything will now go through the internet, through the VPN, back to the Tailscale box, and then out the internet from wherever the Tailscale box is. So in a sense, if you're remote, let's say, and you have your phone connected to Tailscale or your computer, whatever it might be, it will appear that it is actually coming from your house, and all traffic will pump through your house or again wherever the Tailscale box is, and then go to the internet from there. It adds a couple more hops, covers a little bit more, but it is going to lead to like increased bandwidth and latency in certain situations. Both options really work really good. You can test both of them out and we'll talk about that, and it's just whatever will work best for you. So now let's pick that back up and I'll show you how to set this up. So this is where we're going to need to set up as an exit node. So we could try to copy this and it might not actually work properly, and that's fine. You can see over here that's because it wants everything as one. I do have the command over here, and the other part is that you need to have accept DNS equals false. So this was something that we previously did with some of the commands. So you can copy this whole command and then just make sure over here you change it to be whatever your network you want to be accessible over. So I'm just going to paste that in there again. I'm going to paste it, and now everything should be looking good. Again, make sure you just change whatever your internal subnet is in that command so it works properly. Now, if I come back over here to my Tailscale dashboard, you can see now I have a box for exit node, and we have to approve it. So if I open the 3 dots again, I go to edit route settings, I can check off to use as an exit node. And since we made some changes, I could just remove this and I could check that off again. So I'm just going to save. So now we're offering it as a subnet, so you could actually access multiple things through this device, and it's also an exit node. So now at this point, this Raspberry Pi that I'm using, or whatever device you're using, you'd be able to connect to it from Tailscale when you initiate the connection, and now all the traffic will go through there, and you'll be able to get the Pi-hole, so you could have clean internet across, no ads and stuff like that. And you'll also be able to access other devices on your local network through that Tailscale connection if you set it up that way. So I'm going to sign in on my phone just so we can see some traffic pumping through, and then we could take a look at Pi-hole and we could actually see that. One thing I forgot to mention is that there is another configuration that we need in Pi-hole, and that's to allow it to actually let DNS queries through to stuff outside the local network. So like to allow Tailscale to be able to use it. So if we come over here to settings, and then we come to DNS, we're going to check this off to go to advanced, and we're going to permit all origins. Now, so I know it says it's potentially dangerous. It's okay. It's just going to be from us using it. We're going to click save and apply. And now everything will be able to actually use DNS. And of course, along with the Pi-hole, I did forget one more step too. So in Tailscale, we actually need to tell it to use your Pi-hole server for DNS. So what we need to do is come over to our machines and find our Tailnet one. And we want to copy this address over here. And then we're going to come up to DNS. We're going to scroll down to name servers. We're going to add a custom name server. We're going to paste in that IP, and then we're going to click save. Now we're going to come over here, and you're going to want to make sure that override DNS servers is checked off so it actually will use it. And if I come over to Pi-hole, I'll actually start seeing queries because now we're telling our Tailscale instance to actually use DNS. So you can see I already have queries going up. That's because on my laptop I have it connected through the Tailscale, and it's already working actively to block stuff. You can see here's a whole bunch of different things. So I know we had to jump back and add a couple of the really important steps for the DNS to work properly, but you can see it was, and we actually have queries. We can see stuff being blocked, and that's all going across our Tailscale. So now in combination with this all set up, you would actually be able to connect to your Tailscale. It'll connect through that Tailnet or whatever you call that little box that we made, and you'll be able to not only receive your Pi-hole blocking, so if you're on your phone or if you're on your laptop or whatever, you'll get Pi-hole, but you could also jump through there to reach other devices that don't have Tailscale installed. So if you need to like get into your router, let's say, or a firewall, or if you need to get into another computer, whatever it might be, you could do that through here and it will work really nicely. So that would be how we'd set up this Tailscale subnet router using Pi-hole so we could access our internal network anywhere as well as be able to use Pi-hole from anywhere. Again, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Billion.org, for sponsoring the video. If you are interested, I'll have the link down below to check out the trial or sign up as well. Again, I want to thank you all for watching. I'll have links to all the gear in my home lab down below. I'll have a link to the Discord server if you want to join up. And once again, I want to thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. As my buddy Don would say, hack till it hurts.